Niner gang, what's good? You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, as always, Chase Senior. Feel free to hit me up, give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I always love interacting with the Niner gang. We start off today's show with some really important injury news and updates on Deebo Samuel and All-Pro Fred Warner. Kyle Shanahan spoke with the media yesterday and updated us as to how Deebo Samuel is doing coming off that groin strain and how Fred Warner is doing off that hamstring injury. Seems as though Fred Warner a little bit further along, his status for Sunday's game against the Bengals a little bit less in question as compared to Deebo Samuel, but San Francisco needs both of these guys back as they try to put forward another winning streak. Kyle Shanahan on Deebo and Warner saying this: it's still early on Monday. Fred was closer than Deebo was last week, so I expect to get Fred Warner back at practice this Wednesday. Deebo, as for him, we'll go day to day with him. I'm hoping to get him back this week, but it's still too early to tell. You watch the 49ers go up against the Seahawks on Sunday, and there's no question, really offensively, how much they miss Deebo Samuel. With the jet sweeps, him playing running back, and him just being a threat to take it to the crib anytime he gets his hands on the football. Of course, George Kittle was able to have his biggest breakout game of the season without Deebo Samuel, and that was really one of my biggest keys to the game. But Deebo Samuel makes this offense better. They need him back against Cincinnati. They cannot afford to be without one of the best Swiss Army knives in the NFL, and for Fred Warner, he gives this defense an immediate boost. As for some 49ers free agency rumors, yes, it's never too early to talk about some future contracts. Are the Niners working on a contract extension with a breakout player this year, Azeez Al-Shaair, who's really burst onto the scene to be one of the best defenders for San Francisco this year? According to reports, 49ers preparing to start contract extension talks with the guy who's had a marvelous season this year, and really his background is pretty fascinating. Was able to save his family from a house fire when he was growing up. He goes to Florida Atlantic, played under Lane Kiffin there, was undrafted out of FAU back in 2019, had to earn his role in a roster spot with San Francisco as an undrafted free agent, and over time he has really developed into a big play linebacker, and this year it seems as though he's always around the football making big plays for this Niners defense. This offseason he is going to be a restricted free agent, whereas if he was an unrestricted free agent, he'd be able to bolt and sign with any team out there without the 49ers being able to match. Now, Al-Shaair, he's really played well over the last couple of months. And on Sunday against the Seahawks, without Fred Warner, he was wearing the defensive headset. He was calling the plays and the audibles for this 49ers defense, and he was the Mike linebacker, and he was fantastic. 16 total tackles, 11 of them solo in that variety, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit, and really his forced fumble late in the game was huge because that gave the Niners an opportunity to steal that game against Seattle and potentially tie it up with a 7-point conversion. 2-point conversion would have given them 8 and a win. As for what he's been able to do this year, I talk about Azeez Al-Shaair really being a big play linebacker, and it seems as though he's come through with some really clutch plays. He has 86 total tackles on the year, but I talk about him being this guy who always seems to make a play happen when this defense needs it the most under defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans. The stats kind of are evidence of that. 6 tackles for loss this year, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 pass breakups. He's always been around the ball, and if he continues to trend in this direction, I think it's wise. I think it's smart for the 49ers to sign him to that contract extension. Undrafted free agent coming out of FAU. He has always carried himself with that underdog mentality. He was doubted coming out of high school, doubted coming out of college, doubted throughout his NFL career, and now he has an opportunity to secure the bag. And guys like this, who have stories like this, who have that type of dog mentality, are pivotal, important, and instrumental in terms of the culture inside that locker room. Other players see Azeez Al-Shaair rise up and improve like he has, who's had to really cut his teeth and cut his cloth and prove his way in the NFL. That type of mentality is really contagious across the locker room and goes a long way for the culture. And honestly, I think Azeez Al-Shaair has been even better than Fred Warner this year. He has been the San Francisco 49ers' best linebacker this year. which has really come as a surprise to a lot of people because All-Pro Fred Warner, he's the second highest paid linebacker in the league, and he hasn't really lived up to expectations this year. He's been solid, not great, not really worth that price tag. I think he's going to get back to that All-Pro play, but that's really a credit and goes to show you how good Azeez Al-Shaair has been this year. So what do you think the 49ers should do? Should they pay him? Do they have other needs? Type P for pay, type O for other needs on this roster. That money can be allocated elsewhere. Be sure to get those votes in the comment section right now. It is the holiday season as we are deep into December, and why would you go out to do your holiday shopping when you can sit at the crib and order this shirt on your screen from Fanatics that's on sale right now, 50% off for just $14. Here's the deal, though. To get that deal, you have to use that link at the bottom of your screen. It's chatsports.com/49ers Really nice material. And show everybody that you're supporting the Niner gang with the Niners colors. That link is going to be available in the description as well as the comment section of this video. Some NFL rumors to get to, and these directly relate to the 49ers and impact the 49ers. Could Russell Wilson be sent packing and be traded this offseason? And could he be dealt to the New Orleans Saints? An interesting rumor that we want to tackle on today's show. And honestly, I hope he gets traded elsewhere because I'm tired of seeing him own the 49ers. He has won 15 of the last 17 matchups in this rivalry. Dan Graziano on Get Up on ESPN this morning was asked about Russ by Mike Greenberg and said this: the biggest impediment for Russell Wilson being traded to the Saints is their perpetually horrendous salary cap situation. But if you could work with that, Russell Wilson, I think, is almost certainly, and I repeat, almost certainly going to be traded elsewhere. The Saints need a quarterback. Sean Payton must be dreaming about what he could do with Russell Wilson. That's not an overreaction. It is very possible. Here's the deal, though. Russell Wilson right now has a no-trade clause in his contract, so he would have to approve a deal to be sent elsewhere. The reported teams, according to his agent, who he would waive his no-trade clause for includes the Dallas Cowboys, the New Orleans Saints, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Chicago Bears, and according to Adam Schefter, he believes Russell Wilson would waive his no-trade clause to be sent to the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, things have changed. The Cowboys don't need a quarterback, and they signed Dak Prescott to that contract extension. The Saints do need a quarterback. Are the Raiders going to trade away Derek Carr? I think that's in play. As for the Chicago Bears, they're not hitting the panic button already on Justin Fields. He's going to be their future quarterback. And the Philadelphia Eagles, the jury is kind of out on Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew, and obviously Russell Wilson is better than those guys. So those teams, some of them at least, do need a quarterback and could be in play for Russell Wilson's services. Now, the Saints don't have any salary cap space, but the salary cap is projected to go up this offseason, up from $182.5 million to $208+ million. Here's the problem with New Orleans right now, though. They only have, as of this current moment, $819,574 of cap space. They cannot afford Russell Wilson. They would have to do and pull off some serious salary cap gymnastics and maneuvering in order to clear a bunch of salary cap space in order to absorb that Russell Wilson contract. If they don't do that, they simply cannot trade for him. And Russell Wilson's cap hit, it is monumental over the next couple of years. Let's take a look at that salary cap hit for Russ. $32 million this year, $37 million in 2022. It balloons up to $40 million even in 2023. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent at 36 years old in 2024. Now, that is not the base salary. That is the cap hit. And right now, as for the New Orleans Saints, they are hindered severely by their salary cap issues. We're going to be doing a watch party, 49ers Bengals on Sunday, 4:10 p.m. Eastern, 1:10 p.m. Pacific. We're not going to be talking about Russell Wilson because we want him out of Seattle, and I simply cannot take the heartbreak anymore. So we have to move on, and we have to move on as a fan base and just forget about Russ, put him in the rear view. But as these trade rumors continue to circulate, we're going to continue to talk about him right here on the channel. Yes, Russell Wilson is getting a little bit longer in the tooth and older, in terms of his age, but he said back in November that he wants to play for 20 plus years. So any team that wants to trade for Russell Wilson, even though he's 33 years old right now, will be able to have him at least for the foreseeable future. So he's 33 years old right now, probably wants to play into his 40s. He, like Tom Brady, spends millions of dollars per year on his body. That's why he's been able to bounce back very quickly from a lot of the injuries that he suffered in the past and has basically been the bionic man, not really missing any games at all up until this year when he did suffer that finger injury. Just get him away from the 49ers. That's my hope. Just get Russell Wilson away from the San Francisco 49ers. He owns this organization. He has caused a lot of heartache and heartbreak for this fan base. He has been really dominant in this rivalry, which has been a one-sided rivalry, and I don't want to see him in a Seahawks uniform any longer. I don't care if he still stays in the NFC. Just get him away from the 49ers so that this team doesn't have to deal with Russ magic 2 times a year. So let's all come together as a whole, and let's wish Russ away from the Pacific Northwest. Get into the comment section right now and just type demand in hopes that Russell Wilson demands a trade. Let's all come together. And type demand.